Good evening, friends. How is everybody? My name is Scott. I'm review guy Scott, and that was a very rude thing to do to start the video, so I apologize. I'm coming to you tonight with Chris's blessing. The review guys' videos and whatnot are still going strong and everything, but he permitted me to do a solo review for the ECW show. Now, he hates ECW, which I don't completely understand, because how could you hate a TV show? I mean, seriously, he doesn't even really have one of those, this is not Paul Heyman's ECW. He's not one of those people. He just hates it. So, since he hates it and since I enjoy it, I'm going to talk about it, darn it. And I can say anything I want to say, darn it. But we'll be back together again soon enough. What was I going to say? Oh. On the topic of ECW, I think that the show has finally... I really liked it best when I first started watching, before the SmackDown Talent Initiative. In my book, that watered it down. It took away its personality, because now all of a sudden, SmackDown and ECW people were appearing on each other's shows, and nobody had a home, and there was no real story continuity. Well, now, and I guess they're still touring with SmackDown, but they're appearing more on Raw, which I like. I like the Raw ECW initiative, because that puts ECW people on Raw, but it leaves ECW to ECW superstars. Is that making sense? By the way, the light, I'm wearing white, which is the cardinal sin of review guy videos, so it's probably going to appear darker than... Anyway, I'm blabbing. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I like the way the show is now, and I think it's being self-contained. It's getting the exposure from Raw, but it's self-contained in terms of people being on. Yeah. November 11th. Did that make any sense at all? November 11th, 2008. Is the date, and it's the show, and it's Veterans Day, by the way, so happy Veterans Day. Thank you to all of our veterans. My dad, a Vietnam veteran, and so anybody out there who's watching who's a veteran, thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate that, and I couldn't imagine myself making such sacrifices, so thank you for that. Now, that's an American thing. But the show is again coming from the UK. And now, I'm not a snob about things like this, but I just find it somewhat amusing that all we ever hear is the UK. Because, I mean, there are cities in the UK, right? I mean, so that would be like, JR saying, "Tonight, SmackDown coming to you live from America." You would think they could narrow it down a little bit, but all we're hearing is UK, and the big and I am myself somewhat ignorant about things, but the big wheel, the big Ferris wheel, here in the UK. Anyway, so whatever. It's in London, right, folks? People, anybody? It's London. Anyway, that's that. But they're in the UK again. So the show begins with a 6-man tag match. And I guess they really pack it in for these overseas, or I guess foreign soil shows, because they want to really give a good show to our friends overseas, because there would be no America if it were not for the British. I don't know if you knew that. I mean, that's a little known fact. Anyway, so this starts off with Miz, Morrison, and Jack Swagger. I mentioned Jack Swagger last week, and I just don't get him. I don't see why I'm supposed to get him. I don't know why I'm supposed to like him. And it's not even that I dislike him the way I would dislike a good heel. It's just I just don't care for him. But God bless him. Maybe he's a veteran, so maybe I need to hold my tongue. So Miz, Morrison, Swagger versus Crime Time, Dreamer. Oh, Crime Time and Dreamer. Crime Time is 2 people. Well, let me say this first of all, since I get my own video and my time is looking okay. I will say about John Morrison, I really wish we could see more solo singles Morrison. You look at Crime Time, and with all due respect to them, they kind of bleed together. I mean, You know, I mean, I know. They're different personalities, and one of them is smaller and quicker, and one of them is larger and more powerful. But you know, they're just kind of crime time. Whereas Morrison to me is just wonderful to watch. But the more tag matches and multi-man tag matches they pile him in, the less we get to see of him, and I think that's a bad thing. So I'm happy the Miz and Morrison have become this great force in and of themselves. Good for them, but I would really love to see more singles action with Morrison. That said, I was not happy to see Morrison beat Tommy Dreamer, and I'm getting really nervous. We just made the video of the released superstars. I'm afraid Dreamer's getting close because, man, I'm afraid I don't know. Has he won anything lately? I don't think so. But I love Tommy Dreamer, and I hate that he lost, even if it was to Morrison. The Moonlight Drive used to be the Corkscrew Neckbreaker. I prefer the name Corkscrew Neckbreaker, so I'll continue to call it Corkscrew Neckbreaker, even though it's hard to say Corkscrew Neckbreaker. Especially when you're drunk, which I'm not. Tommy Dreamer. Matt Hardy did a promo. You know, he's a good champion. You know, he's not great. You know, Chris has a very funny anti-Matt Hardy kick that he's on. But I still like old Matt Hardy. Then we saw a clip package for a fellow, maybe you haven't heard of him, maybe you've forgotten by now. I mean, it's been so long. It's a guy named John Cena, and he's apparently a wrestler, and he's apparently very committed to what he does. I don't know if any of you knew this. This might be news to you, and I probably is, because it came out of the blue for me. Complete shock. Anyway, Cena's coming back. Mark Henry came out, and I could just see Mark Henry and Tony Atlas come marching down the thing, and I could just see the fine Brits in the audience saying, "Daddy, what do you think will happen now?" And then the father said, that was the young one. Then the father saying, "Well, my boy, I have a funny feeling that somebody is going to get their ass kicked." Because his song, somebody's gonna get there. Yeah, so it was a poor fellow named Oliver Biney, and I assume Oliver Biney was a local boy, and that's a very British sounding. It seems like something from the UK. Oliver Biney, and he looked like a big guy, but he didn't win. He lost to Mark Henry. He got his ass kicked. Pardon me for saying that. That was inappropriate. I'm so sorry. I should. Then Todd Grisham gets in the ring and asks Mark Henry, "Who do you think's going to win tonight, Finlay or Matt Hardy?" and Mark Henry, who's never happy, even after he wins, he's still glaring, and you know those tiny little eyes. I don't know how he sees out of them. He says, Grisham says, "Who do you think is going to win?" He holds the microphone up to him. Mark Henry ate the microphone. I swear. He ate it with put it in his mouth and ate it. And then he walked down the thing, and there was a little girl with a hornswoggle hat on. He took off the hat and he ate it too. You got to watch Mark Henry. He eats everything. All right. Finally, the main event for the ECW title: Finlay versus Matt Hardy. Well, I guess I'm not really surprised who won. Well, I guess I am. I thought Finlay was going to win. I thought maybe all of the British people on the roster were going to win titles, because we saw Regal last night, but he didn't. We saw. I wondered if we were going to see some more heelish behavior from Finlay, because Hornswoggle got injured. You know, when Matt Hardy hurt himself. I don't know, but that made Finlay mad. But anyway, when it was all said and done, Finlay shook hands with it was very exciting. All the finishing moves, one after the next. It was so exciting. But anyway, time is short for me, I believe. So, but anyway, so Finlay, when it was all over, shook Matt Hardy's hand, bowed to him,
And I'm going to say, no, Finley, you're not in Japan. You don't have to bow. That's the wrong culture. It's the wrong continent. You know, you went that way. Japan's that way. Just saying. I mean, I don't know about it. Okay, anyway, so time is short and time is up, and we'll be back very soon. Probably have some more videos posted between now and Friday, but we'll see you then for SmackDown. Thank you.